Hello everyone, this is ClouD giving you a shoutcast between ESC's Delphi and ClouD, MYM's ClouD here on Shakuras Plateau. This is the Blizzard version of the map, the most recent 1.5 version, so there is no backdoor rocks inside or coming in from the backside of the base. A couple of other things to say, this is game 3 in this series, so Delphi and ClouD so far have split this series, and we'll see how these players do continuing to play this out. This is more than a best of 3 series, I will let you know that, but I'm not 100% sure if it's a best of 5 or best of 7. I will let you know when I figure that out. Anyways, ClouD is spawning here as the blue Terran player at the top left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, we have Delphi spawning as the red Zerg on the top right hand side of the map. This is going to be what used to be destructible rock spawn, but that is no longer the case, as the Overlord will quickly make its way inside the base. ClouD is asking, is this only cross position? Apparently, yeah, he says Blizzard map, so hopefully he knows whether or not this is only the cross position, and whether or not he's going to scout in the not only cross? No, it's only cross. The Blizzard version of the map is all Shakuras Plateau is also only cross. It is the only map. Alright, so a nice bit of banter there as the two players talk to each other. The SCV will make its way down over here, and it's looking... No, can make double racks in the mid. Alright, so ClouD looking to set up a 14 command center, a very, very aggressive scouting, or sorry, aggressive economic play, followed by Delphi's 14 hatchery as well. So both sides going into a very, very aggressive play as that one Overlord now making its way back. SCV gonna build a barracks and simply ignore the drone now getting some damage over here. SCV needs to get some damage over. 2 SCVs coming over. 1 SCV now going to build over here as this SCV now going to move over and try to scout. This drone has taken some damage already as this SCV tries to run away. One of the things I liked about StarCraft and Brood War originally was that on large buildings, it was sometimes possible for the SCV to be inside here. You know, that would have worked out really well. Just having the SCV on the inside right there, making it so that at least drones and probes cannot get any damage. It obviously wouldn't work too well on a barracks, but come on, Blizzard. Can't the SCV find its way around on the inside of the building? Why does it always have to circle around it? I guess he is trying to build the building on top of him then. Anyways, Marines are being added. We should be getting a double refinery in just a moment as SCV is now being transferred to that low ground. And let me go ahead and show you the production tab. There is a queen already in production, meaning the spawning pool is already up as well. Extractor now trying to get up to that magical 100 gas mark, as both players are going to, after getting a decent number of units, should bunker down and play a very, very strong defense game and a very high macro game, since this is Shakuras Plateau. Does ClouD know? I believe ClouD does know exactly where his opponent has spawned. Yes, Delphi is spawning over here, and now an SCV trying to make its way across the map, not going to be able to do so, as 2 Naga watchtowers revealing the location. A Zergling now making its way over. 3 Zerglings now going to snipe in that SCV. SCV going to try to just do a little bit of scouting, but really not going to be able to do all too much, as the Zerglings going to be able to catch up to it very, very easily. Zerglings do outrun it, and in comes a queen. Perhaps able to see a spine crawler being built on that front door. Marines are going to be sitting on this high ground here, trying to fend off any attacks, and we'll see if ClouD has any better luck trying to complete this front door seal. Yeah, it does take 3 buildings to do a complete front door seal, and unfortunately for him, because he spawned on the left side of the map, he is not going to be able to add any add-ons to this front door seal unless he tries to build a supply depot down over here. And that is one of the different difficulties of Terran, and hopefully this does not come into play where ClouD isn't able to train up Marauders. He is going into double factory now, and his double factory build normally means Hellions, but this is time he is running off of 2 base play, so we'll see if 2 base play does in fact, if 2 base play does in fact have perhaps some siege tanks earlier on. Barracks now being lifted off over here, or now being built once again. So this is going to be a 4 racks build with a factory. Perhaps that means that we will see some more Marines and some siege tanks. Nope. Once again, ClouD going into Hellions. ClouD really liking that Hellion harassment as the Marines now finally see that Overlord and wants to shoot it out of the sky. Marines are now making its way over here, and that one Overlord going to take a lot of damage and most likely get destroyed. Very, very slow moving Overlord, very easy for Marines to shoot down, and down it goes. So yeah, destroyed Overlord there, as we are now getting one Spine Crawler and some Roaches on the front door. ClouD has not really been successful with these Hellions at all, but it does give him a little bit more map control and more map awareness, so that is one of the things that he can try to utilize. He is also getting a large amount of gas, still training up SCVs, sitting at 38 SCVs with 2 mules, and that is helping him balance against Delphi's army. Delphi does have a slightly smaller army at 400 resources compared to 750, but those Roaches, those 3 Roaches, would be able to deal a significant amount of damage towards Marines and Hellions, since those Hellions, for one, do not do additional damage towards those Roaches, and 2, Marines have a very difficult time against Roaches because of that natural base 1 armor, allowing those Roaches to absorb a lot of damage. Hellions now on the move, and that garage door opening from that barracks, and now Blue Flame Hellions once again looking to get some damage. The Roaches now trying to come in over here. One Zergling quickly getting torched once again, but all he really wants to do is just try to limit the amount of sight, and down goes another Zergling. The Roaches, however, do not have movement speed upgrade, so this is going to be very difficult, as those Zerglings now need to get back onto creep. Another Zergling getting toasted now, and now ClouD, oh, did he see the expansion? Yes, he did see the expansion, and now simply ignoring it and just running around once again. We are going into double Thors. So double Thors now after Hellions. So he was saving up a fair amount of gas and now able to train up double Thors. He does need to get up more supply depots, and now going for a 3rd command center as well. I do not see the 250mm strike cannon, but then again, the 250mm strike cannon is really not all that useful, as the range is actually lower than most, and oh, the guns actually look different on the side. I didn't know there was like that little Gatling portion. I did know about the wings, but it looks like the Thor is a little bit different there, as the Hellions now trying to back off once more. There are going to be, what, 9 Roaches now making their way out. The Thors do have decent range of 7, but I do not believe that they're going to be able to really fight back against those Roaches all too easily. Hellion now just torching another Zergling there, and now the Roaches may try to test that front door and quickly turn around as soon as it realizes that there are Thors there. So yeah, Thors dealing a lot of damage, Marines there, and now this is the situation that Delphi is in. Does Delphi train up more Zerglings, which the Hellions would be able to easily take apart, or does he train up more Roaches to counter the Hellions? But then those Roaches would have a very difficult time unless they simply purely outmass and outnumber those Thors. Thors do follow the Roaches if the Roaches simply outnumber in that easily, since they do deal a decent amount of damage. 2200 versus 1975, as some Banelings are now being hatched over here on the side. Delphi now sitting off of 3 base play compared to ClouD's 2. Infestation Pit now coming in. And once the Infestation Pit goes down for the Zerg player, it almost feels like Terran has to completely change up his strategy. Marines are not going to be able to have a lot of life receiving 36 damage. So if ClouD uses a stim pack, he does not have that combat shield. He may actually accidentally kill all of his units that are stimmed. Back over here, another Zergling trying to make their way out, and now a command center being established down over here, as well as a Marine gaining information and sight. There are only 2 Thors in play, and the Thors are also going to be effective against any Mutalisks that try to come out, as the Thors do deal additional damage towards Mutalisks, but I don't see any indicator of Mutalisks just quite yet. The Thor just looking very, very powerful, and or just all-powerful there, waiting to just unload those Thor's hammer and deal damage towards the Roaches and Banelings and Zerglings. No Hydralisks just quite yet. We are sitting on a fairly larger army by ClouD, but it is a little bit smaller in terms of gas, so it is fairly even. But I spoke too soon. Now that the Banelings are coming in even further, the Banelings are going to add into that army. Banelings, while they're under construction, are not counted in the total. And you can see the Roaches of Delphi with that movement speed upgrade now, able to move around very, very easily. And now finally getting the Pathogen Glands. So the Pathogen Glands nearly researched as an Infestor now on its way out. And now in comes the battle here. Banelings now trying to make their way in. The Marines trying to run desperately away as the Banelings sacrificing themselves against the mech. Here, the Roaches now battling it out as the Banelings finding their targets and finishing off Delphi, able to just clean up this Marine army. He is going to have a lot of Roaches left to finish off this, and now the medevac finally appears, but it is going to be a day late and $1 short. Roaches now desperately trying to run away. Zerglings are going to be coming in, and now more Roaches coming in. An Infestor may get off a fungal growth. And no fungal growth there. The Roaches do move significantly faster and may be able to take down that siege tank there. No fungal growth. Oh, the poor siege tank. The poor siege tank was able to kill that one Infestor, but the fungal growth was coming down, and now the Marines are in full retreat once more. Roach is now going to simply walk into here, try to get some damage, perhaps try to deal some damage towards those units, and now the Marines are stimming back, trying to fight back. The Roaches do have level 2 or level 2 armor against the level 1 or level 1 weapons upgrade, so 1 armor upgrade versus 1 weapons upgrade, evening out the upgrades there, as the Roaches still continue to make their way up that ramp, dealing a lot of damage towards those Marines. The Marines are now finally able to mass up a strong enough counterattack, but the Roaches now looking to take down the planetary fortress at the 9 o'clock location. Oh, Marines moving out a little bit too far. Army-wise, 800 difference now as the Roaches simply walk in, gonna finish off one of those siege tanks, and now finishing off more of those Marines and SCVs. What the SCVs now absorbing a lot of that damage that is meant for that siege tank there. That siege tank racking up the damage with that splash damage, continuing to unload. SCVs trying to fend off that attack there, and while able to hold position on the ramp and destroying many of those units. Banelings now currently being hatched, and it looks like the Banelings may try to make their way straight into the planetary fortress. That is going to be a lot of damage to absorb, as the planetary fortress cannot take that much. And oh, the Zerglings is going to be coming straight into here. ClouD now running in. Banelings melting away many of those Marines now, and getting even more damage up onto that high ground. Even if the Banelings don't find their Marines, they are still finding their target and dealing damage onto a siege tank instead. Banelings now simply just continuing to roll on up, getting more damage once again. The Marines fending off the attack though. And now we see a sensor tower by ClouD. That sensor tower actually revealing the location of one of his expansions. ClouD really didn't need to build the sensor tower here, but by doing so, his opponent knows exactly that Delphi does know exactly that he is even on bases now, as another command center currently being built. This is going to make it much more difficult to destroy this planetary fortress with Zerglings and Banelings, as there is one building, a key, very, very large hit point building in the way. Barracks now still being added by ClouD. ClouD doesn't have one reactor to be found here, still training up more and more Marines. He does not have concussive shell research, as he doesn't really have that many Marauders either. Roach is now sitting over here at the edge of that sensor tower. Radar revealing the location of those units, but he doesn't really see how large that army really is. The Infestors, oh, getting off a nice fungal growth there. Marines just completely getting destroyed, and 4 seconds, and now moving out, and you can see ClouD losing a majority of his units there, and really just taking a beating at that position. Siege tanks now making their way out, and it looks like he is going to try to build another command center, wow, and take this expansion over here, as we are now getting a drop here. The Marines simply coming in, gonna get some damage onto those drones, some long distance mining already coming in. Those drones are still coming back, and the Marines gonna be able to finish off multiple drones once again, as the units are now trying to make their way out. So Delphi finally being forced to engage in order to defend this expansion here. There are some Banelings now coming in, and the Roaches looking for their target, doesn't see anything. Delphi now expecting the Marines to drop over here, and that would be a pretty safe bet. Spawn Larva once again coming in. Delphi doesn't have much of a creep highway set up, at least not in between these two very critical bases, as a scanner sweep reveals the majority of Delphi's army. We are now getting into Mutalisk, level 3 weapons upgrade, level 3 armor upgrades, and the Mutalisk gonna be able to shoot down this medevac with relative ease, looking for that target. He doesn't see it just quite yet. The medevac needs to unload its cargo, and oh, there you go, ClouD going to lose a medevac to a group of Mutalisks and a lot of Marines inside, so now ClouD continuing to add to his woes. We are now sitting at about a 400 resource loss difference between these two players. APM, you can take a look at it there. As now the SCV is being transferred. ClouD does have another command center here, and at some point he does need to establish it here in just a moment. Perhaps getting some missile turrets as well. Yeah, getting those missile turrets down, as there are going to be a lot of Mutalisks being added to that army. Banelings and Infestors once again on the move. Roaches and Banelings looking to find their target, and yeah, and it's going to be able to melt a lot of those Marines. Infestor has enough for 2 fungal growths. This one has enough for 2 fungal growths and almost 2 infested Terran. That is going to be a significant amount, as the Mutalisk is going to try to scout out this expansion location and of ClouD, and ClouD already with 3 missile turrets in play. Going to lose 1 Mutalisk very easily. A second Mutalisk taking some damage as well, as the medevacs now need to unload that cargo very, very quickly. The Marines are now being unloaded as the siege tanks are in the center of the map. Those Marines, however, are upgraded 3-3, so Delphi with 0-0 upgraded Mutalisks. I'm not sure how much damage he's really going to be able to do. Those Marines essentially are dealing more damage to a Mutalisk than a Mutalisk can deal back. The Mutalisks only deal 9 damage per attack. There is armor upgrades on those Marines, and the Marines are dealing 9 damage back, significantly less expensive, and also fire significantly faster. Mutalisks almost half the weapon, or half the weapon speed of Marines. Marines now coming in over here to try to shoot down the rest of those units here. Marauders are going to be added. Marines now coming in, and the Marines may be able to get off even more kills. 1 Marine able to get off a final shot off there. The Marine now trying to fight off the rest of that swarm, or that rest of that flock, but that does not look to be successful. ClouD now coming in for another drop, and the Marines and Marauders and Banelings already in transition to try to stop it. Drones now coming in and getting destroyed. Banelings melting away all of those Marines now. Infestor's going to get off a fungal growth and melting off another group. The Roaches quickly getting destroyed. Are we going to get another fungal growth, or perhaps onto those units? No. Does not want to get a fungal growth. There was no queen nearby to snipe down and finish off those armored medevacs. Main units now coming in through the center. Level 2 weapons upgrade about to be completed for the Terran mech units. Marines and Marauders already fully upgraded at 3-3, so those are going to be a very difficult unit to crack. Banelings, however, dealing 39 damage. Only what, 36 after that armor, still a significant amount. 2 Banelings, all it would really need to take. But Banelings, oh, the Banelings just wandering around over there. Now, one of the things that you can try to do versus Banelings is you can try to drop Marines onto a group of unmoving Banelings. And the Banelings will just naturally sacrifice themselves to try to kill the Marine. And if you're able to actually trade 1 Marine for 2 Banelings, that is a definite win in your favor, as Banelings cost 50 minerals and 50 gas each, compared to the Marine, which only costs 50 minerals. So you're able to just evenly trade resources pretty well. The medevac now on the move once more. It doesn't look like anything really is going to be happening over here, as drones are now doing some long distance walking and mining. Both players running off of 5 bases now, or what will be 5 bases, as the Marauders now coming over here, and it looks like the hatchery is going to get destroyed. The medevac now going to perhaps try to do a drop on the backside over here. There's not much happening, but the Zerglings and the Roaches and the Marauders now moving out, as Broodlords are being added to the army. So Broodlords can get a lot of damage, especially if there are no Vikings. The Marines and the Marauders, I'm not sure why these units are not unloading, try to snipe down that hive tech, and now in comes a major battle here. Let me rewind that for you guys. So yeah, the Marines, siege tanks are going to be battling it out. Siege tanks now sieging up, as those Banelings going to simply be able to run in and get a lot of damage. Fungal growth already coming in. Roaches now coming in. Broodlords now coming in. And wow, Delphi laying the trap almost perfectly, getting so much damage, and now finishing off ClouD's main attack force here. Both sides did trade a significant portion of their army, but production-wise, We are seeing now some Vikings being added to the group. The Broodlords or the Mutalisks now need to finish off some of those medevacs, but because there are no fungal growths from infestors, not that much damage would really be dealt. The Greater Spire may get shut down, and that is going to be a very expensive or time-consuming building to replace. It does take a decent amount of time, and now going for that spawning pool as well, so no more Zerglings either. Now going after the Roach War, and the Roach War now going to get taken down, but Chain Fungal Growth's going to finish off those Marines. Where's the second Fungal Growth? There it is. The Medevacs unable to really heal up back in time, as the Roaches are now battling it out over here. The Roaches are now in retreat, as one Broodlord is going to get shut down. Perhaps two of those Broodlords will get destroyed. Marines still trying to repair, trying to get healed up, trying to fight back against this group. The Medevac should just finish off that, or should just be finished off by those Mutalisks. Corruptors now coming over, and down it goes. So some key technical buildings have been destroyed, but the Hive is still in play. So the Spire is now being rebuilt in addition to that spawning pool. And now after that spawning pool, we should get a Roach Warren back. Can he get enough damage in this time? Can ClouD capitalize on the fact that his opponent cannot train Zerglings and essentially Banelings by composition, and now finish off Delphi? Delphi now losing this hatchery here at what I'll call the center 2 o'clock location. And now the hatchery has been destroyed. Back over here, the Marines now trying to chase after those infestors, but simply getting destroyed in the process. But, oh, the infestor down to 8 hit points. So somehow the natural armor on the infestor actually helped him out just a little bit. Marines and Marauders, Marines now dropping off once again on that high ground, and it may simply stim in and take down that Hive. If the Hive gets taken down, that is going to be a lot of buildings to try to rebuild. Going in from spawning pool and Hive tech once more. A Baneling unable to find its target. Both sides, and ClouD now putting pressure on 2 parts of the space, going to take the natural expansion location here at the 4 o'clock location. It's going to get shut down as that Queen doesn't have enough damage to get through that thick Terran infantry armor at this stage. And there's the GG, well played by Delphi. So Delphi losing to ClouD and recognizing D's very, very strong play. It was a shame that Delphi didn't get weapons upgrade on his units. He did get infestors though, but those infestors did deal a lot of damage and shut down many of those infantry, but the units just simply became too much, and now you see the total resources lost. Actions per minute by both of those players. Let's see, any army supply. Let's see, control A. Yeah, you can see the army supply versus worker supply. Units killed is control R. So yeah, 335 compared to 284. Too bad there's not a resources lost, because units killed doesn't really tell you the difference between a Zergling dying and a siege tank dying. So perhaps if they actually had units lost like this, resources lost, 29,000 versus 23,450. Yeah, very significant difference there. So well played by ClouD. ClouD sitting at 200 food and also having a large bank of minerals, so he would be able to just train up all of his units very, very easily. 3 factories, 8 Raxes, and 1 starport with a reactor. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Delphi and ClouD here on Shakuras Plateau.